folks, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, and today we're going to take you on a little journey with our hardwood dowel product on this little edition of how it's made. Dowel rods, what do you do with them? I mean, we see them used as spindles, we see them used as ballet bars, you know, we see them used in joinery, curtain rods. There's a whole spectrum of usage for dowel rod. Starts the same way as a lot of the other products that we manufacture here, with the incoming raw green lumber coming onto the facility, going through our drying process. From our drying process, we're bouncing it back to the rip barn.
Okay, so here's where we're starting our process on making dowel rod. We're ripping the rough lumber, dried lumber into strips, square strips, and then the strips come around and we're defecting them, taking out whatnots in it, and then the guys are sorting it at the end of the line, and then they'll continue on to the dowel rod machine.
Today, I'm joined by Mr. Dale Lanterman, better known at the Baird Brothers Fine Hardwood campus as Dowel Rod Dale. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How's Steve today?
We're doing well. We're doing well. For the most part, we're getting stuff off the optimizing line, but we still have that availability. We manufacture, what, 13 different sizes? 5/16 to 2 inch and everything in between.
Yeah.
And then when we go beyond that, we have some length limitation, but we can go up larger diameters and we jump back over to the lathe.
We jump back to the lathe, we can do up to 8 foot.
Yeah, okay. You're set up for what size dowel you running today?
1 inch.
1 inch dowel rod?
Yeah.
Did I see some walnut and some maple that you're gonna push
Yeah,
through
I got
for
a
us?
little bit of walnut, some maple, some hickory, some white oak. A little bit of everything.
What kind of lineal feet per minute are you running?
I would probably say 12 to 15, somewhere in that vicinity, depending on size and depending on hardness of species, you kind of adjust.
You dial it in a little bit. Okay, Dale, so we're in front of the our pencil sharpener, our dowel rod machine, right? And you're kind of the odd guy out in that you don't have the option of our grinding room to maintain your tooling. You do that for yourself, and you do it old school. Take me through that real quick. And how often do you have to retool or sharpen?
Usually it depends on what all you've been running. If you get into harder species for longer periods, your knives dull faster, and you just simply unbolt them and take them over to the grinder on the other side of the shop, hand grind them till they're sharp, stone them off, bring them back, and that's when the fun part starts of resetting where they have to line up.
To come into that tolerance,
I gotta be within usually 5 thousandths of being over, so that way I have enough to sand and not be too far under or too far over or this and that.
so you're ensuring the quality of the size of our hardwood dowel.
Yes.
Once it goes through the pencil sharpener, it winds up over at the sander.
Over on the sander.
We'll see that too. All right, I'm out of here.
The sanding process is pretty simple. We have one machine, 2 different grits of belts. 180 is the beginning, the 220 is the finishing. Speed it up or slow it down as it passes through. Check everything with calipers to be as precisely accurate as humanly possible. Granted, piece to piece, you're gonna vary a little bit just because one piece of the same lumber is a little bit more dense than another. We try to get it a happy medium somewhere in between perfect and close.
By the time he runs it through the sander, you're right there where you want to be. Whether it's a piece of 3/4, 1 1/4, 2 inch, it's going to be what you ordered and easy for you to work with and use. You go beyond that if you need something a little bit bigger, something in the case of a stairway. If you have round pickets dowel rods for your spindles, you might want a round knoll post. And we would bounce that over to our lathe department, and that would be custom turned in a cylinder for your usage as a knoll post. So front to back, it follows a lot of the same processes. And one of those processes and one of those goals is the quality of it. And dowel rod is a very popular product group here at Baird Brothers. We send it all over the United States and locally and regionally. But there's a reason, and it's the quality that goes into it. So we'll ship it to you anywhere in the United States, small package, LTL freight, or we have it available here at Baird Brothers, 7060 Quarry Road, Canfield. Hey folks, Thanks for talking shop and making some sawdust with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you enjoyed this episode and want more DIY project ideas and insider tips and tricks for all things hardwood, give us a like and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or check out BairdBrothers.com. Until next time. Hello everybody, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, Canfield, Ohio. Back here at Studio 3B. We're going to take you on a little how it's made trip today. We're going to be working with one of our custom crown profiles, SPL 3137. So let's go for a little walk.
Hello, I'm Roger Ewing out of Baird Brothers today. We're in the grinding room making new head profiles for the molder. Right here I've got an inside side head that I'll set up. They'll send the drawing down to the computer and then I configure it for inside, outside, top, bottom head on the molder. So we make a new profile here on a CNC grinder, and then I have a top head I'm working on making a new knife for the molder on there. This is the inside side head. We'll make that knife that'll go on the molder and then it'll cut the actual piece of wood. And then we have a top head that's cutting a plow, and that top head will cut that whole plow out in one pass. Once I get the heads made and set up, they'll go out and run on the molder out here in the shop, and we'll have our new profile.
This is where the quality starts. As far as the machining, Roger manufactures all of our knife stock in-house here. Turns out the profiles on the grinding machines, the old school versus the new school CNC, but he does his job right, and that allows us to produce some of the highest quality hardwood molding products and dimensional stock in the United States. Raj, thanks for giving us your time this morning.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, welcome back, guys. I got Billy Moss with me, one of the molder techs here at Baird Brothers, and we come back into the shop and we were fortunate to find this SPL profile 3137. It's like a 5.5 inch custom crown molding. And right underneath it, on our desk here, we've got a piece of 1x6 S4S dimensional stock in the primed finger jointed. Those both came out of the same blanks we saw manufactured.
Sure did.
Take us through what is involved in manufacturing something like that 5.5 inch SPL 3037 or 3137 crown molding.
The tooling's all made in the grinding room with Roger. He puts it all in the head for you. Then I take it out to the machine, and we put the heads on the machine. There's 3 heads for this profile here, the top heads and the 2 side heads, the inside and the outside head. And that's where the profile here on this one will come in. That'd be the 2 side heads, the angles of the crown. Then you got a top head, which is a roughing head, and then you got another top head, which is a finish head, and that will be the profile on the crown here. Slide the head on the arbor, pump it up, dial it in, and you should be pretty much ready to go. I do a lot of SPLs on that machine, so it's easier for me just to throw the heads on and use a straight edge or a sample to run the piece through.
You set a sample, a physical sample piece,
Put a
and you
sample.
dial the heads down to that sample piece.
Yeah, and we like to keep it around 18 knife marks per inch. 16 is what they tell you. We like to keep it a little better than 16. The more the knife marks, the better the finish is gonna look. You get the knife marks a little bit closer, and it looks a lot better.
Anywhere from 30 feet a minute to 80 feet a minute, you got molding coming out of the back of your machine.
You betcha, yep. SPLs is slower, and our stock items are faster, probably 80 foot a minute.
Yeah, you get the flashlight out, shine it as it's coming out of the molder.
Yep.
See what those knife marks are looking like.
Yep. We use calipers, so we make sure everything is really as close as we can get it within thousandths.
Whether it be a piece of black walnut or whether it be a piece of poplar, it gets the same care and attention.
You bet.
Right?
It does.
Good deal. Folks, there you have it. Hey folks, thanks for talking shop and making some sawdust with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you enjoyed this episode and want more DIY project ideas and insider tips and tricks for all things hardwood, give us a like and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or check out BairdBrothers.com. Until next time. Hey, welcome everybody. Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, Canfield, Ohio. Coming to you today from Studio 3B, and we find ourselves in the workshop half of the studio. We're gonna build this cute little shaker style step stool. This one has a nice handle so you're not wobbly on it, you're nice and stable. Come along, let's go get this thing put together. All right guys, we need to go shopping for some wood, but before we do, I wanted to give you a glimpse of one of our recent projects, and it was this mudroom locker bench assembly. Visit contentstudio.bairdbrothers.com. You can see the build out on that. It was a great project. We had a lot of fun. But back to our shaker step stool today, we gotta go buy some lumber. So let's go to the trim warehouse and see what we can come up with. So here we are out in the middle of the trim shop at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, and I'm shopping for some dimensional lumber today. Our project calls for about 6 feet of 1x12, whatever the species. Today we're shopping for red oak and a couple pieces of 1x3. I found a beautiful piece of red oak, 1x12, 3/4 thick, 11.5 net width, and then our 1x3, 3/4 by 2.5, and that's gonna act as our little stretcher cleats on our step stool. We're gonna load some stuff up. We're headed back to the workshop and make some sawdust. Okay folks, we're back at Studio 3B here at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, and while we were shopping, I picked up some red oak. That's what we're gonna do the project today with. I also picked up some poplar. You wanna build this little shaker step stool and you wanna paint it, poplar would be a great option. This beautiful cherry lumber, that can be accented strictly with a top coat of a urethane product, or it can be enhanced with some type of stain, then your urethane. Same goes for the red oak. Now these are only 3 of the many species we offer here at Baird Brothers. You can always jump on bairdbrothers.com and visit the website, go to dimensional lumber, and it will give you all of those options. We have a nice little paper template that you can print out. We've taken that, we've put it onto a piece of Baltic birch plywood we had laying around. It looks like we're gonna be able to get this out of about 5 feet of 1x12 and just a couple feet of the 1x3. There's only 5 pieces to this project. So let's lay this out real quick. Okay guys, so this was cutting it out by hand with the aid of the miter box. We're gonna go ahead and cut some rounded corners on the actual step or the seat. Then we're going to remove the saw curve from the jigsaw with an orbital sander. So not bad for just everyday hand tools, right? Hey Sam, what are you up to?
We're just laying out our pieces and getting ready for assembly.
Everybody, this is Sam, co-employee here at Baird Brothers. He can do anything front to back of that molding facility over there. Quite the craftsman, very talented individual, and it's nice to have 2 sets of hands and his expertise, knowledge. All right, so looking at it, what's next up? We gotta go to the Craig jig over there and drill some holes?
Yep, I've got some basic layout lines here, and I've marked where I want to put some screws in, and just a matter of taking it to the jig and popping some holes.
Sammy, you drilled all the pocket holes. Now we're ready to soften these sharp edges. You brought a nice little palm router with you, and what size bit did you put in there?
I set that up with an 1/8" router bit with a ball bearing.
The last thing we want to do is start right in on one of our almost finished pieces and lay that router down and have a drop radius instead of just a soft radius, right?
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Sam.
Let's see if we did it right.
Yeah, see if we got her set right. I'm thinking that's good. You know, it definitely takes the sharpness away off of that product. So if you're picking it up, moving it, this and that, or if you brush your shin against it, it's not gonna tear you up. So that looks good, guy. See what you got. Okay, Sam, so everything that's going to be exposed to hands or little feet has had that corner rounded over on it. Our stretcher pieces, you did both of the bottom edges. So if you're picking that stool up, your hands aren't going to come in contact with the sharp edge, right?
Right.
We ready to start to see if all these pieces and parts fit?
Yeah, I think so.
And let's wrap this thing up, get it put together. Okay, Sam, so you got everything routed, pre-drilled for the Kreg pocket hole assembly system. Are we going strictly with screws, or we're going to introduce some of that Franklin Type-On product too?
It definitely doesn't hurt to use a little glue,
Okay.
just a little extra strength. The screws are pretty strong by themselves, but the glue helps as well.
So wait a minute, what are you doing with that little chunk of, what is that?
This is just a piece of wax. I'm not sure what kind of wax. It's probably just like candle wax. And all I do is just put a little on the screw. That helps lubricate it and help the not split out the wood.
Cool tip. And you're ready to go. All right, bud, have at it. What do you think?
I think he's ready for some finish.
All right, Sam, hey, nice little project. I gotta thank you, man. Thanks for coming out of the shop, spending a little time helping me put this thing together. You guys that do it every day make it look simple. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to having you back at Studio 3B. Visit contentstudio.bairdbrothers.com. Keep following us, Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. Thanks for joining us today. We look forward to next time.
Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods offers over 2,000 molding profiles.
In our grinding room here, we have several thousand profiles. We're always, every day we're adding multiple profiles. We have this knife library available online for everyone to search through. They can select what size range they're looking for, or what architectural style. So you can go through that knife library, see if we have something that's a match to what you're looking for, or you can reach out to us. Send us a sample, send us a drawing, a picture. We can start with a picture to get your pricing, and we can match up exactly what you have, and whether you need 10 feet of it or you need 10,000 feet. It's never a problem.
Besides selection, Baird Brothers sells only the highest quality of fine hardwood moldings. This is determined by knife marks. Knife marks are tiny lines in wood created during the milling process by a knife cutting the molding profile. The amount of knife marks determines the quality of the millwork of the wood. The more knife marks per inch, the higher the quality. Knife marks per inch, or KMPI, are measured by board feed speeds, RPMs of the cutters, and the number of knives. While industry standard is about 12 KMPI, Baird Brothers standard KMPI comes in much higher at 18 KMPI. Because Baird Brothers knife marks are so fine, they aren't as noticeable unless you're looking extremely close.
But as we look down the board, we want to also make sure we don't have any scratches in there, any scuffs from the hold downs, any nicks in the knives if you catch a piece of dirt or a piece of a foreign object that might, from the raw material, that might hit the blade and nick it. As soon as that happens, you have to stop, you have to resharpen and get rid of that nick, because you'll have a bump in your moldings.
Dowel knives create noticeable marks in the wood, while unbalanced cutters can leave defects in the wood. This is especially noticeable on stained surfaces.
Nothing can go on out there with the molders until it comes out of this room. It needs to be sharp, it needs to be precise. If we have a profile that we've used for 20 years, we will be within a half a thou of exactly the same right now as how that came out 20 years ago. And that's the only thing that they will accept here. and that's the only thing that we will sell.
This is why Baird Brothers has experts that weigh, balance, and precisely sharpen every molding profile knife.
The knives we put into a head, the proper size, and then ground to the profile, which is done to a template. Everything's got to be smooth and locked in tight and clean. And every knife gets sharpened exactly the same way every time. Whatever the degree of the bevel is, we match. There's a reason why it's on there. Obviously it runs that profile better, so we'll match it. Basically the tolerance that I've been taught that has to be done here is within half a thou, which is, you can barely see it, but it's that critical to make sure every piece of molding that comes out is exactly the same. That this template used 10 years ago is going to create the same molding today as it did 10 years ago. I can usually feel with my hands how sharp they're getting, and I can take my thumbnail and just actually take the thumbnail right off. It's as sharp as it's going to get.
Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, America's source for fine hardwoods.
Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hey, hello everybody. Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwood. We find ourselves back at Studio 3B, Canfield, Ohio again. And today we're going to talk about the uniqueness of Baird Brothers audiences. And that goes from the commercial side of things to the residential side of things, DIY customers, home builders, architects, interior designers, and we have a friend on staff, Mr. Eric Hiner. He covers all those fields. He covers all those bases, plus more. Eric, welcome back to Studio 3B, bub.
Thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
I promised it wasn't going to hurt, right? So
you said it.
Right. That's the one rule back here at Studio 3B, whether it's a Build It with Baird project or Studio 3B American Hardwood Advisor. We make every attempt to have fun at it. So that's what we're going to do today.
Good.
Let everybody know your title and how long you've been here.
We can do that. So I've been at Baird's going on 25 years this year, I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me right. I am in inside sales and have a very nice clientele of lots of great customers that I've acquired over the years and service.
And those customers, you have great relationship with 3, 4, 5 of our B2B business to business people down in Columbus, some in the commercial side of things, local and regional contractors, and also you have a fantastic client from Hawaii. Tell us about that.
No doubt. So going back maybe 10 or 12 years, you had gone to the International Builder Show in Vegas and started that whole thing and met JTG Pyramid Premier Builders out of Hawaii. And we've had a really nice relationship with them, shipping full houses of doors and trim, really nice stuff to Hawaii.
jump ahead to 2022 this year, and you for the first time got to attend IBS 2022 International Builders Show down in Orlando. And one of the great things, I know you have the same appreciation I do for our customers, your customers. You got to meet them down in Orlando.
So the highlight of my trip, for sure, was finally, after that period of time, meeting Tim and the girls who run the show there. It was just to put a face to face was so it was awesome. It really was.
Yeah, you know, and when I look back at the International Builder Show for 2022, that was, in witnessing that was like, okay, now I know these people.
Yep, it was an aha moment for sure, without a doubt.
Because you had always, over the years, it had always been conversations via phone or email communications, and you know, you can look people up online and you know, try and get it, but when he and his group approached our booth, that was killer. That was killer.
And he ended up letting us in on his new project that's coming up, a big project for the future that they're going to start, and looks like we're going to continue with them for a while.
What's that? That's in Honolulu?
Yep, Honolulu.
So, yeah, and that's one of many. Flip back home here, and we share a friendship with a couple guys from East Liverpool, and in fact, Joe was just in the office yesterday or the day before, and Delaretto Construction.
Yep.
There is the prime example of a gem of a relationship. You know, those guys. I mean, I can't even fathom how many years. How many years have you been dealing with Joe?
Well,
and Mike.
Ever since I started at the counter is when I met Joe coming in here. So at least maybe 22 years ago.
Okay, so that leads me to another question. You hired in. What was the first thing you did?
Worked in the shop.
So you were in the shop for a while?
Went to the shop for a couple years.
Bounced out to the
sales counter.
To the sales counter out front.
Yep.
And then at some point,
I found an opportunity to move my way up the steps, and
literally
move my way up the steps, and started being your inside contact when you were out on the road selling. And started typing all of your orders is where I started that at.
Looking back, I can't even recall. That had to be, wow. You weren't in the shop or downstairs very long.
No. Nope.
We share some mutual respect for our customers. And I think we have some similarities as our approach with our customers. But you have mastered your craft as far as customer relations. What are you trying to achieve with your customers?
My number one goal is to have the best customer service by far to my customers. That's what I pride myself on daily, and that's it. Customer service 100%, and the rest will come after that.
And that's obvious in your customer base, whatever category they come from, and your retention of those customers, that they appreciate you as much as you appreciate them, and you've worked. It took work to accomplish that, right?
That, and every day it takes work every day. But that's what a lot of them have been built on, is the good service, for sure. And an awesome product, without a doubt. So.
And to achieve that, I know the answer to the question. There's key components in conversation, communication, and you are very good at one key component. What's the first thing you do to your customers?
Now you are putting me on the spot.
Because you do it naturally. You don't even know you're doing it.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Listen.
Bingo.
Be my biggest guess anyway.
Bingo. That's as we were writing notes down, and that came up in conversation. In order to be a good salesperson, and I don't care whether it's field sales, telephone sales, online sales, and how do you listen online, Steve? Well, as you're looking at the orders and you have to reach out on a question on an order, you have to listen. And if you listen, a couple things happen. You get information that you need, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're listening correctly and you translate that and spin it, because you listen, now you know what questions to ask of that customer. He said, I heard, but he left out this.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, that's, I knew you were going to come up with the right answer, bud.
Yeah. And I'm still old school too, because I write everything down as I'm listening. So I use paper, but it's a cheat sheet to fill in the blanks.
You never took notes in high school or college, but you take notes in your job now.
How about that? How about that?
I've only heard stories, so I'm going out on a limb there. It's again, another strong suit that you carry is your product knowledge of Baird Brothers Fine Hardwood products is second to none. And you have a way of educating your customer, so of Baird product, of your procedures, I'll call them. If I'm calling in and I get you on the phone and I want to order a pre-hung door, you have a checklist of stuff that you go through. I mean, it's not a printed checklist, but it's up here in your mind, right?
Every time.
That comes through years of experience. It's developed and mastered, and you being the veteran on the phones, you've done that. But that's not all you do here.
I take a lot of razzing from it as well, only because of just slightly OCD in all of it.
Prior to traveling to IBS 2022 in Orlando with us this year, and getting that experience, before I ask the next part of this question, what did you come away with from IBS 2022?
There's a lot bigger show out there than around what you see locally here. The quality of contacts that you meet at the IBS show was amazing. A whole nother level. Not that the IX Center, the Great Big Home and Garden Show in Pittsburgh aren't big, but it's a whole nother big when you go to the IBS show.
And that's where I was going in that for years we've had the opportunity to work the regional shows, local events and so forth, and and yes, the Great Big Home and Garden Show Cleveland, the Pittsburgh Home and Garden Show, they're fantastic shows, but the IBS is a different level as a national show, and you nailed it. Excuse me. The audiences are 180 degrees.
Yeah,
different.
definitely.
Going back to our introduction of the home and garden shows regionally, you have homeowners, you have DIYers, the occasional contractor walking through. We go to the International Builders Show, and you have interior designers, you have architects, you have builders, and you better be on your A game, because they know the answer to the question before they ask it, right?
Whether you can do it or not.
Right. So
whether you can help them.
Yeah, and it is, and you're right. IBS was a phenomenal show this year, coming off of 2 years of the COVID situation and being able to get back out in front of the public. I mean, it was phenomenal, and all the shows that we attended this year, consumer participation was very good. Was very good. I mean, we spent some time down in Pittsburgh together and had a good show in Pittsburgh, and the guys did the same in Cleveland, and that's a whole nother side of your game, because now you're not on the phone or typing communications via email or text. You're face to face.
It's nice to see somebody.
Yeah. And we didn't get to attend it this year, the Cleveland show, because we were in Orlando. But, and I've said it 100 times, myself and you included, because of our time working together as an inside rep support for me when I was on the road, we go to Cleveland, it's like a family reunion, right?
Right.
I mean, we see guys that, you know, we haven't seen in a few years, and they come by the booth and we have conversation, and you know about their families, they know about yours, you know, and speaking of families, you're a tough guy. 3 daughters, a wife, and a dog or two, and
female dog to boot. Couldn't even get a male dog. just outnumbered, but it's been great. It's really been great. You know, I appreciate being at Baird's to raise 3 girls.
And
unreal.
And if you don't mind saying their ages.
So we're at 25, Madeline, 22 for Gracie, and soon to be 17 for Bree.
I didn't need to hear that. That just made me feel a little bit old.
Yep, definitely.
My gosh,
That's
yeah.
how I feel too.
Getting back to work here, you think back over the years, and some of your favorite projects you can think of? I've got one in mind.
Oh, geez.
And it goes back 12 years, if I'm not mistaken.
This ought to be good, considering that I can't remember what it is.
And I could be wrong, but I'm thinking your first Hawaii job, wasn't that a mahogany job?
It was. All mahogany, flush, contemporary doors, 1 3/4 inch thick, 8 foot tall, very contemporary casing, all mahogany as well. Couldn't believe this guy was just going to get this shipped across the pond and put it in the house over there.
Yeah. And there's been some local ones. There's been some local ones.
I dealt with a guy in New York for quite a few years that built sound systems, and he special ordered butcher block and speaker blocks to enhance the sound of a speaker, which I had no idea did until he led me to that. But I did that for 10 or 15 years with him.
You sent him hundreds of them.
Yeah, did them in all different colors. And
yeah, I had forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was kind of unique.
but different, something different. Starting out.
Really, you have your own style, your own organizational chart as far as keeping information about your customers. Take me through that. I mean, guys, if you've ever seen Eric's desk, there's nothing out of place. Whether it be customer files, pens, pencils, it's it's always at an arm's length away from him, and that's so important when Joe XYZ calls you and says, hey Eric, how's this project coming along? You do what?
As messy as my desk looks, it all has a place and an order. Like I said, I do everything on paper. I keep a record of everything for a certain amount of time. I can always go back to a folder, which I have a 4-door filing cabinet just full year round, rotate the stock in and out of it, and I'm prepared for it.
And also, unlike my computer screen and my email, I have a list of, let's say, 30 files. You have a list of 300 files.
At least, probably. The most folders that the IT department has said they've seen on a computer, but I have something for everything ready at my fingers to grab it and refresh my memory.
Yeah, and that's helpful to you and to your customers. You're at the ready with the answers they're looking for. Big part of customer service. You and I've seen a lot of change here. We go back to the day of handwritten orders at the counter. Had to do the math. Take us through what we've seen as far as change in our approach to our customers, how we receive our customers, the order process.
So, from handwriting tickets to getting computers, period, I'm not the best IT guy, we'll say, as far as being current or knowledge of technology-wise, but learned it right along with everybody else.
Yeah.
But use it every day now, not knowing that I would ever use it this much or be able to use it this much.
And you and the rest of the sales staff included, outside sales, phone sales, counter sales, we have more tools now than we've ever had.
Yeah.
The amount of work that you do daily, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do that.
No.
Right?
To search something and find something so quick, you already have the answer.
Right. We've got BairdBrothers.com is a great resource. Our SPLs. It used to be a challenge to find our SPLs. Yeah. Now it's as simple as
hop online and just start clicking.
Right.
You can find anything you want.
So that's another one of your sales resources that in your library of ammunition that Definitely. You have available to you.
Lots of profiles to pick from to send to your customers.
Again, we've seen the change, but from when you started at the sales counter until today, how have you seen our product offerings expand?
So, as overwhelming as it was when I first started here product-wise, it's not a clue, but maybe 10 times as many products, but just easier, so much easier to find now, because they're, like I said, they're all at your fingertips. But yeah, very overwhelming at first. Baffled when I first started here, learning all the profiles, but it was almost like homework to just start memorizing everything. Now, way too many profiles to memorize. That's not happening. But before, you and I could memorize the whole entire book, the whole entire catalog.
I'm thinking of
start to finish. You knew how much the product cost as well. Not only the profile number, the dimensions on it.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the old trifold price list. There was like a 5x9 trifold, and
I think you're really dating yourself. That was before me.
Okay. All right. So the gloves come off. So, but you're right. You know, you knew what, and I can say the number, and you can tell me the size of it right now. B100 oak casing.
9/16 by 2 1/4 OG.
Right. B108 oak casing.
3/4 by 3 1/2.
Okay. Back in the day, I could have asked the next part of that question, what was the price? And you and I could recite it.
Today?
No. So conservatively,
Yeah.
let's say on that green fold out, there was 200 SKUs. Today,
Thousands. Thousands. For
and,
sure.
and so, you know, thankfully for our IT department and the computers and the computer systems today, you can still give that same level of service, which without those tools, I mean, it'd be ridiculous.
The engineering department for all the drawings and just having them available to send somebody.
You know, and you touch on something that has expanded tenfold. Anyhow, is our engineering drawing department. We used to offer maybe 3 styles of doors. You had your flush hollow core, your flush solid core, you had your 6-panel, and you had your 4-panel.
Yeah.
And maybe a louver mixed in once in a while. Again, I should know the number, I don't, but our door library now has to be approaching 1,000 different configurations.
Anything you want. Can special build it too. You draw it, we'll build it.
And I've referenced that in the past. Bring it in on a napkin and a sketch, and we'll run it through engineering and drawing, and it can come to life.
And now the 3D printer that's available to print you an actual piece of one of those profiles so you can physically hold it and see it, which helps tremendously.
Yeah, so again, we have so many stock profiles in our common species, red oak, poplar, maple, cherry, a little bit of the hickory, and our dimensional stock, including the ash, the black walnut, and a little bit in the quarter sawn red and white. But the system is set up now, if I want a quarter sawn white oak casing, right? I go to the SPL section, or you go to the SPL section, you find the profile, you pull it up, and it will give you a species pull down and give you the price.
Yep.
Right?
Instantly.
So a lot has changed.
Yep.
You touched on a 3D printer. The benefits of that, you know, you've experienced it back in the day. If somebody wanted a sample of a custom SPL number, well, yeah, okay, we'll set up and we'll run an 8-foot stick of it, but
you got to set a full motor up to do it.
Right. Where now you put a request into engineering, they send it back over to IT to the printer, and
there you go.
It's produced.
Really nice.
A little bit has changed. One thing that hasn't changed is, and as long as you and I are around here, and never will change, the importance of long-lasting relationships with customers. Who's some of your oldest customers?
Dillaretto's for sure. Hearst Construction up in Westlake right now. Been with those guys for a long time. I have lots. I can't even think of all of them right now. There's so many.
We've had conversation, and a name just came to me, Davy Lobus. Right?
North Royalton.
Yeah, you know, and the Chucharellas, and Nicola Bianchi's, and Ray Pate, formerly of Sherwood Homes, and Pat, his superintendent, and you know you're doing it right, and I know that you're doing it right when in the office that we share, we talk business, and then you BS for 10 minutes.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And those things don't go away. You could go off to another job somewhere, or when you retire, and you're still going to have some of those friendships.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
As things have changed, products have changed, product lines have changed. 2 questions. Favorite product line, and favorite wood species, personally?
I'm going to go with wood species first.
It's an easy one.
So one that's probably going to go away, or they keep saying it's going to go away. It is limited, getting more limited, but ash for sure. Thought it was really cool, different when I first started here, and through my years, built my home and did all ash in my entire house. Doors, trim, flooring, everything. Just wanted something different. Just because I work at Baird Brothers, that's what I need, something different in my house. So.
Oh yeah, your ash trim and doors, they're gorgeous.
And it was a custom profile casing from back in the day that I picked on that. Took a regular base, and that's what we decided on.
Yeah. How about your work colleagues?
So I've met a ton of great people along the way in my almost 25 years here. Built work relationships and outside work relationships with them. Everybody's willing to help. You know, if I'm going to miss or I'm going to be out, there's somebody there to fill in for it. And I do the same, you know, vice versa. It's super nice, without a doubt.
And I mean, and that extends not only from our work colleagues, but we consider them our work colleagues, our ownership. You know it, I know it, we've experienced it, I don't want to say taken advantage of it, but it was accessible to us. If you've got something going on with your family, they're the first ones to say, go.
Yeah, Baird family has treated me extremely well over my time here. Can't say enough about that for sure, but like you said, yeah, if you needed to be somewhere, they're very forgiving on that and understanding, which makes it great to raise a family. You put the time in after that to make up for it, and you thank them for that.
Yep.
So.
So we're coming into your time of year, bub. Golf clubs are out.
Here it comes.
Right? We're starting to put calendar dates in for some of our work-related golf outings and so forth. And I know next to I'll go family first, then I'll go golf, and then I'll go hunting, and your order of importance, and hopefully here real soon we'll be able to get together and ride around in a cart, smoke a cigar, and hit some golf balls again, you know. But that's not too far off. So
we're ready.
You're ready? Okay. Well, appreciate you coming back this afternoon, spending some time with us out here at Studio 3B. Folks, one of many important pieces to this Baird Brothers puzzle. Mr. Eric Hiner with me this afternoon. Stay tuned. We're going to bring you more of the guys behind the scene in our next series of American Hardwood Advisor. So until then, follow us on our social, on the Instagram, the Facebook side of things, or visit us at bairdbrothers.com and our content studio for more stuff that we've done already in the past and stuff coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be back at you. For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at BairdBrothers.com. Until next time. Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hey guys, here we are again, back at Studio 3B. We have a special guest here today with us. We're going to do a little conversation with Mr. Derek Donatelli for our American Hardwood Advisor series, and part of our new content studio, .bairdbrothers.com. It's where all the good stuff's going to live, and follow along with it, guys, on all of our social platforms and so forth. And wanted to bring Derek in today. Derek, welcome.
Thank you.
How long have you been with the company?
Well, normally this is when I ask my wife, and she says about 15 or 16 years, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, so we see that throughout the company, that longevity.
Yeah.
We find ourselves having opportunity. You're the prime example of having opportunity within a company of advancement.
Right.
Right.
No
doubt. Before we go there, let's talk about. You mentioned your wife, and I know, but tell the folks about your family a little bit.
Okay. My wife and I have 2 girls. Lily is now getting ready to graduate from high school, and she's considering the college thing. And then we have Victoria, who's 13. We all live in Boardman, and they definitely keep us busy, no doubt about it.
Okay, and I want you to share with them, because your wife has such a beautiful first name. What is her first name?
Thomasina.
Okay, and we call her Tommy.
Correct.
Right, all right, but a beautiful name. So you have your family. You have, in coming to Baird Brothers, you had a background in painting.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Wood finishing, painting. How long did you do that, and who'd you do that with?
I probably started on the job sites when I was 11 or 12, and went from Dad and his 2 brothers, Grandpa, and the cousins, so it was going on through generations at that point.
So you find yourself in the painting business with your family, by the sounds of it. Mm-hmm. And what made you shift gears?
Well, I had gone to YSU, got my degree. Took me a little bit longer than I wanted to, but when you're paying for school, things happen. So actually got involved in a little bit of the electrical business to pay for school. Ended up going back to painting. And one of the things that it always intrigued me when I was on the job sites, his name was Mr. Dick Ferguson. I'd see Dick come onto the job sites to measure the projects like I've done and I know you've done, and how he carried himself and how he did his job and how he communicated with the contractors. It was always just something that caught my attention. So fast forward, I found it to be pretty crazy that when Dick Ferguson retired, I filled his shoes.
And that's a good story, because we both shared experiences with Dick Ferguson, Fergie, as we always called him. Dick was the Youngstown rep.
Yep.
And at that point, I was casting out up into Cleveland and other markets. And you're right, Dick was a good one. Fergie, his professionalism, and more so than that, his legitimate caring for his customers
Bingo.
and their projects.
Yep.
And having heard you just say that, and I'm not going to fast forward because we'll get to it eventually, but that's one of the elements that suits you to the position that you've recently taken over. How many years were you out on the road selling?
I'd say 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it been? Coming up on a year or longer?
Almost 2.
2 years that you've come back inside.
Yeah.
And you're heading up the sales force now. 15 years, 16 years, whatever it's been, you've seen some changes.
Yeah.
Here at 7060 Quarry Road, Canfield. And go through some of the changes that stick in your mind, new buildings, new equipment, whatever it might have been, our approach, Tell me about it.
I think a lot of that I was able to grasp a lot better because of, like I said, with the painting business and how I was always wrapped around the family and how everybody had their function and you sort of had to work through everything. But in the time here, you've seen some of the old timers that have passed and how the business was ran then and how that torch has passed on to different people, some family and some not family. So there's been a lot of changes. And with the spike in business, we've been forced, if you want to say, to expand even more and to try to find good individuals that can handle the part of the business that we need to hand off to them.
And that's a good point. And you had the luxury of having the experience of being in the painting business, being in new construction sites, being in remodeling sites, and in the construction business, there's a flow.
Yeah.
And it's our jobs as an interior molding, door, hardwood flooring supplier to keep that flow going in the best interest of the contractor.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And so you have that understanding, that appreciation. Your work performance doing your job as an outside sales rep affects people other than Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods.
No doubt.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So in saying that, and now you have, and I've lost track somewhere. How many sales personnel do you have under your helm right now?
If I had to guess without counting, it's near 20.
Right. So that encompasses, for folks that visit our retail showroom, that encompasses the counter sales.
Correct. Folks
up front there, the great will call service that we offer. We've got Anthony over there now heading that up.
Yep.
So that's frontline people, and then in servicing all 50 states and all of Canada now, we have to have a phone sales staff.
Correct.
And I know that's something we've talked about. So we have a phone sales staff, and then for the people of our Mahoning Valley, right, and for our friends and neighbors up in the Cleveland region and down in the Pittsburgh region, you have your outside sales force. So take us through some of that. Just the approach of our counter salespeople, our will call service, which is huge locally. We have folks from Cleveland or Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Call in will call, run down, pick the material up, get back to the job site, they're working, right? And then the outside sales representatives that we have in the Cleveland market, in the Erie market, down into Pittsburgh, West Virginia, a little bit of West Virginia, and 120 mile radius of Canfield here in Ohio. What are you looking for? I mean, it's service, but going back to the knowledge that you brought with you, going back to the appreciation, take me through that. What do you expect our salespeople to bring to the table?
Well, the first thing is that we all know that we have a whole bunch of different types of customers. So when you're talking about the different ways that we filter our sales through those different salesmen, we have to make sure that our sales guys understand if it's a contractor, how he wants to handle his project. If it's a homeowner, what type of assistance they might need. So having those different types of salesmen helps to cater to our customer base. You know as well as I do, anytime we would go onto a job site, chances are you're going to learn something new. Just when you think you may have got it and you understand everything, then you go to that job. So what I try to do is take all of our sales guys and starting with the new ones, because we've hired a lot of new young talent to replace some of our aging sales staff. And we have to get those guys to think as if they were on the road, in my opinion. They're going to be able to service the customer better if they can visualize what the customer's talking about. So what we've started to do a little bit more is take some of the new guys, take some of the guys that have been around a bit, and talk to some of our local friends that are contractors and make arrangements to go out to the job sites at different stages in different types of homes, with ranch homes or two-story homes where we might be able to introduce a stair system, or look at circle top windows, or all the things that you and I know that phone call's coming. That customer is going to want to order something.
Yes.
And one of the big things I keep preaching to our staff is they come to us because we're the professionals. They don't do this every day in some cases. And if that's the case, we have to outthink the situation, because the customer is ordering what they think they need. We have to make sure that it is in fact what they need.
That goes back to a salesperson's philosophy of knowing the right questions to ask, and having, like yourself, having experienced all three levels of counter sales, phone sales, outside field sales. I look at it, counter sales guys have a little bit of an advantage, just in the fact that you have a real person across the counter talking to you, maybe with a sheet of paper with some notes scribbled down. Outside sales, field sales, they've got the best of both worlds normally. They still have to know the questions to ask, but they have a physical example in front of them, they have a contractor or a homeowner in front of them, and they have that opportunity to discuss and experience what that person's trying to accomplish, what that customer's trying to accomplish. Then we go to our phone sales guys. They don't have the one-on-one presence of a customer in front of them. They could be talking to somebody in Florida or California or Montana, and they don't have that physical structure in front of them,
right,
in the form of a house or a business office or, excuse me, whatever the case may be. And so they got to be on top of their game.
Here's the one thing though, and we haven't talked about it yet. They have to do one thing that the other guys should be doing, but they need to do it even better. We talked about asking the right questions.
Oh, yeah.
But the guys on the phone, they need to be really good about listening to the customer.
Very much so. Great point. Because a lot of times, more often than not, listening will give you that question that you need to ask.
Exactly.
and pretty big word, but the phone sales guys, as all of the sales staff, but the phone sales guys especially, they got to be visionaries. They have to, okay, I'm talking to Joe out in California, and Joe's got this bar project going on down in his basement, and it's an L-shaped bar, or it's this or it's that. You have to submerge yourself in that,
Right.
and listen to your point, right? And try and pull out of Joe what he wants to accomplish. Okay, we've got this product, we can help you out there. We've got that product, we can help you out there. And paying attention.
Well, the other thing is, you know, when you handed over the leads to me from the internet that come to us every day.
Yep.
The one thing that I was able to witness as you were allowing me to experience what you were doing with the leads before you handed it off to me was the fact that we have a sales force that all has a different background individually. And when those leads come over and there is something specific on there that's like, yeah, that needs to go to Tom, because Tom started out in the business in sales. He's worked in the cabinet shop, and he has a woodworking background. So obviously there's certain things that we're going to flip to Tom because we think he would be most helpful for that customer.
And that's very true, and you're right. Over the years, when we receive a lead at info@bairdbrothers.com, that lands at a couple desks, but in the past I've been the one to distribute them. Now you have that chore, that responsibility, and what you just said is we'll get a question or a request that matches the profile of one of our phone sales guys.
Exactly.
And actually, we'll get a request that a red flag goes up. It's within our 120-mile
I know where you're
perimeter.
going. Yep.
And that gets handed off to one of our outside sales guys for the services that they offer.
Because it makes sense to do that.
Right. And that's all determined by the size of the projects, the complexity of the project, and you know, in our information sharing technology of today, yes, we can have a customer in Hawaii or California or Florida or wherever. They can shoot us over that blueprint electronically, and we can have that in front of us. You know, we have a project going on right now up in Concord, Massachusetts, and we haven't been able to do a job site visit with this repeat customer. But we were able to, through Zoom meetings, telephone conversation, work our way through the hardwood flooring issues, the door schedules, and the moldings. But it's being directed to the right personnel in our sales staff.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So, you know, we touched on products a little bit when I was talking about Joe in California building his nice little man cave bar down in his basement. What type of trends are you seeing now in the past 2 years while you were still out on the road,
Right.
and coming in and seeing what your salespeople, our salespeople, are selling today?
Right. Well, you mentioned earlier about how we've evolved over time. And I remember not that long ago, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, we started seeing the craftsman type trim package design come roaring back. And I was out measuring jobs left and right where we were reproducing existing moldings. And often they were very close to the last one we did. So as you talked about us evolving and changing and trying to keep up with the trends and with, you know, everything that's going on in the industry, I felt that we needed to change our profiles. and I got a lot of slack from some people that says, oh, we don't do that, we're not going to do that. We have, you know, a full array of profiles, but over time and you know, proving that this is where we're headed, we were able to introduce some of those moldings. You know, our 2017 baseboard, you know, our 105 casing, you know, our 3070 crown mold. So as those trends pick up, we need to make sure that we offer profiles so that when the customers see something on social media, in a magazine, or wherever they're going to pick that up, maybe at a friend's new house, that they can come to our website or come to our showroom and see something very similar to that.
And you made mention of a descriptive word, craftsman.
Yeah.
And craftsman transvays over a couple different decorating schemes. Whether you paint some of our craftsman style moldings or whether you stain them, it can take it from country farmhouse to more of a sleek, elegant, modern style.
Right.
But that's the moldings. We also have the doors to go along with it. If I were to ask you, what is the most distinctive characteristic of a craftsman style door, you're going to say
Flat panel all day.
flat panel, square sticking, straight clean lines, whether it be a 2-panel configuration or a 4-panel configuration. The 3-panel configuration is very popular right now. So it carries through. And now we have the door element, the molding element, and now we got to put the icing on the cake. What are you seeing in hardwood flooring?
White oak, it's everywhere.
You know, and we're fortunate that we have partnered up over the years with many different quality sawmills where we buy our rough lumber, bring it to our facility, run it through our drying process, run it through our optimizing rip line, and I have seen some beautiful, not only plain sawn white oak, but the quartered and rift sawn white oak. Like here in our studio, we threw a curve and we used a live sawn, right? Live sawn, character grade white oak in a nickel gap tongue and groove application, and I think it turned out beautiful. So the white oak is the hot ticket right now.
And
for
rustic is hot. So that brings us to our antique oak flooring.
Our antique oak, you know, and I know we offer different, some of our different species in the character grade.
Right.
I always describe it as leaving some of Mother Nature's handiwork in there, rather than cutting out,
grading it all out,
all of the character. You know, it's something we haven't touched on, and it can go from farmhouse to shaker to traditional to contemporary, and is stair components.
Big part.
Stair components.
Yeah.
I mean, you know it. We run the full gamut, from the wood balusters, the wood banister, to the wood knolls, to the iron components that have been very popular over the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, however long that's been. You know, but you mentioned a few minutes ago of coming to the website and being able to see that, bairdbrothers.com, right? A really neat thing that we've worked hard at in being representative of our product line, assisting our salespeople. Our customers can go to bairdbrothers.com, go to request a catalog, and you know yourself, you've worked on it with us.
Yep.
We've compiled a catalog not only of our most popular product lines, but we've tried to set it up where The front half is that consumer side, going through the different decorating schemes,
Right.
the traditional, the contemporary, the country, the shaker, etc., and some description and some guidance.
Yep.
Here, let's get you started here. Now, as we get you honed in a little bit, now we're going to take you to the back part of the catalog.
Pick it out.
You're going to see the products. You're going to see what pricing scales we're at, et cetera, and so forth. And so that, and I'm going to bring this back around to you, between the catalog, the website, whether you're speaking to one of our counter sales guys, or whether you're speaking to one of our phone sales guys, or you have one of our representatives on your job site, they're coming to you with assets to assist you.
Yep.
Fair to say?
Yep, definitely.
And we take that, you know, we take that to heart. You don't go hunting without a loaded gun, right? You know, so the guys have assets available to them.
Customers want to see stuff.
Right.
Got to have it.
Right. So, you know, that's so ever important that we continue to do that.
The one thing we didn't touch on, and I had to deal with it this morning, that's why I'm remembering, we have the ability now through a 3D printer
You beat me to it.
to go ahead and make a profile that we don't have a copy of in stock because it's special, and send it across the country for someone to look at it and say, yes, that's it.
So in going into a little more detail on that, we have our full array of what we call our stock moldings,
Right.
or some of our stock products. They're beautiful, they're fine, they're readily available. But over the years, 60 plus years of being here manufacturing hardwood moldings and flooring and doors, etc., we've compiled, and I've lost count, I know it's in excess of 2,500, 3,000 different profiles that we've manufactured over the years. That lives on our website. Our customers, our contractors can go to that website, go to custom moldings,
Right.
go to casings, baseboards, chair rails, wainscot details, and they will find pages on their screen of what we call SPL product codes.
Specials, yep.
They can reach out to us, give us that baseboard profile, SPL to whatever, request that sample. We now have the capabilities to produce that sample on a 3D printer, full size, 4, 5, 6 inches long, whatever.
Right.
Put it in an envelope, ship it out to the customer. If it's to their liking, we can go into manufacturing. So,
And we often do.
yes, and that's, you know, that in itself is a great resource for contractors and homeowners alike, let alone our sales folks.
Right.
Okay, so you've done it. I've done it. In addressing your sales team, our sales team, how big is developing a relationship with that client?
It's huge. In the past 2 years, I've trained 3 new guys for the road. And, you know, we start out with obviously learning the products that we're going to sell. And then we go to the job site and we start to learn how to do things and how to capture the information we need so that we can bring it back here and turn it into an order. And then they start to witness the relationship part of it. You know, there's guys that I dealt with for 14 years that Steve Stack dealt with prior to me, that Dick Ferguson dealt with prior to me, that Jerry Pohl dealt with prior to me. And now they're taking over that route and they're taking over that relationship. These guys have high expectations of what they've gone through over the years and the service that they've gotten. They have to measure up. And when they don't, most of those contractors realize that they're new and they're patient with them, and they say, well, you know, this is how we would do it. So the learning continues, and through that, then they start to build that relationship, and their accessibility, their ability to make things happen and to get product for the customer when they need it just starts to take off all over again.
And our salespeople are experiencing something now that you and I didn't necessarily have available to us. And you have created a structure where our outside sales folks have internal support,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So if I'm on a job site and I'm with a customer, a homeowner, and my phone rings, through courtesy, I'm with that homeowner. I'm going to stay in conversation with that homeowner or that contractor. If my phone ringing is a contractor that wants to get a will call order placed, or he wants to get an order placed for materials coming out on his truck he has scheduled tomorrow, he has backup.
Right.
He can call that salesman's internal support, their salesman also,
Yep. Exactly.
and get that order placed and not have to worry about getting in direct contact with that salesperson.
Right.
So there's another avenue of communication.
This time around, we tried something new, and we hired a sales rep that's going to live in his own territory. And that goal was to invest into him, like we do, as a salesman, to give him everything that he needs to know how to do his job, and yet keep him in the field. Sales support is going to continue to allow that. Not that he doesn't come here or won't come here, but anything that he needs in the field, whereas he's the professional in the field, that sales support guy is really the professional here.
Correct.
At 70/60.
Correct.
Because he knows the people and the processes that we have, that the salesman on the road doesn't really have the time to juggle when he's out there measuring those projects.
And that's a twofold situation, in that you're preaching to the choir at a guy that spent in excess of 20 years driving back and forth to Cleveland every day. So I was guaranteed 3 hours windshield time.
Right.
You know what 3 hours windshield time is? It's
Measuring a
non-productive
job.
time.
That's measuring a job.
It's non-productive. Yes, spent a lot of time on the phone with a lot of contractors in that 3 hours, but
they still had a cord then, right?
Right, yeah. Actually, it came in a bag.
Right.
and so now we're not only allowing that salesperson to be more available for his contractor, job site, on site, that homeowner, but he's also being productive for the company.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Right. So, all that said, even with your little jab you threw out about my corded phone, 2 questions.
Okay.
We offer an array of products. I in our build out of Studio 3B in our workshop here on Quarry Road, I have a definite favorite. You know, we can tell folks that we have 6 different ceiling treatments or 7 different ceiling treatments. I've lost track. Flooring, wall paneling, some crown assemblies, this, that, and the other thing. But I look around, and as we were building out, I have a favorite product. And before I say that, or before I reveal it, I'm going to invite people to go to contentstudio.com or contentstudio.bairdbrothers.com and you'll see our 6 tiles of the American Hardwood Advisor, the Build It with Bairds, our plan section, our nitty gritty talking to our production people, but to the far left hand side in that menu bar, there's a little search insignia tile, the magnifying glass. Click on that, and that's going to take you on a virtual tour of our Studio 3B workshop, and there's hotspots embedded in it, and you can investigate. So while you're investigating, I want you to pan up to that cherry ceiling we have, and that corner ceiling has the old cherry 5-inch face Philly fence. That is my most favorite product probably in this whole build out that we've done back here. The whole ensemble looks nice. The cherry, I think that showing my hand there with the cherry wood. What's your favorite product? Not necessarily in this studio, but over your years. I mean, sometimes you talk with a contractor and you do some drawing on the wall and you say, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, and some of them just come to life. Do you have any memories of ones that just came to life and you said, more importantly, not you said, more importantly, the homeowner or the contractor said, man, you guys nailed that?
I think it's more of a category.
Could be.
So stair systems is probably the biggest thing that I like to concentrate on. Because if you have a staircase in your house, now today, we're going to ranches, but if you have a staircase, it's pretty much a focal point, no doubt about it. So the way you handle that in comparison to everything else that's going on in the house and how you tie it into the doors and the trim and even the floor covering and the colors on the walls and all the things that the homeowner probably has a bag they're carrying with all this stuff in it. They have the countertop, they have all this stuff. You can really take the staircase and allow it to blend everything that's visual at that point.
So a number of years ago, I had the opportunity to visit one of our partner stair suppliers, manufacturers that we still use today, and this was probably in excess of 30 years ago. We visited and sat in on a little salesman how to sell stair components with a company down in Bowerston, Ohio, L.J. Smith, longtime partners. And if my philosophy, even more so today than it was back then, if you walk away from a meeting with one good idea, or you take away from a meeting one good idea, one train of thought, you touched on it. They drilled it into our heads that day that in the case, not necessarily a 2-story home, because we're seeing today a lot of ranch homes, but with an open staircase going to the lower level, right?
Okay.
Because now it's living area down below.
Yeah.
But they described the staircase as the nucleus, your design center nucleus for the entire home. And as an example, you can introduce a stained handrail, a painted baluster to coordinate with your painted woodwork. The handrail, the actual handrail banister itself, stained, coordinating with your white oak floors that you talked about earlier.
Yep.
So yeah, it's where the design starts to pop, and when you go throughout the home, you say, oh, wait a minute, that ties back to the stairs. That ties to this room. That ties. Yeah, you have to approach it as fun.
Yep.
You have a goal, like you said. You'll have that homeowner that they'll have 13 different samples in that bag. And you say, okay, how are we going to accomplish this? Well, a lot of times the stairs is the place to do it. Thousands of projects you've been on over the last 15 years.
You're going to do it to me.
Plus, prior to your Baird life,
Yeah.
favorite project all time?
I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. I really have two, so this will save me a little bit. There was one project that we did out at Lake Milton, and it was a lake house, and it was a 2-story, and it had everything that we do. It had flooring, it had a beautiful fireplace, it had a 2-story where there was a staircase, it had a coffered ceiling, it had 8-foot doors and 6/8 doors, pre-finished doors. It was just one of those jobs that you don't get to do every day.
And that's, and I'll interrupt you just for a second.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced the same thing. Been in homes that were straightforward, simple, comfortable, livable, beautiful,
Right.
right? And then like the project you're describing, just over the top.
Yeah. Every room went together, yet every room had its own little flavor to it. The master suite had a pitched ceiling. It had our tongue and groove product on the ceiling. It had beams. It was all painted. The flooring was pre-finished. The doors were pre-finished. The countertops were pre-finished. It was just phenomenal.
You know, and that goes that goes back to something that you've heard me mention it 100 times, if not more, over the years. Whether it be a door style, panel configuration, whether it be a certain molding profile. We have homes within 5 miles of here that we've had long-standing contractors come in with a piece of paper, with a napkin that they had with coffee with their homeowner in the morning, and they came out here with a profile drawing. Can you guys make this?
Yep.
Yes, we can make that. How about this door?
Done.
You've experienced it.
Yep.
You've had custom cutter heads cut for a new profile on a door, stick and rail assembly. So the availability is there. The availability is there.
What about the other job?
Was it local?
Yeah.
Where was it at?
Canfield. So that house had...
So you got to get farther away from home.
No, I like staying home. That house had cherry trim throughout. 8-foot doors, 7-foot doors, 6/8 doors. Brazilian cherry hardwood flooring.
I know the house you're talking about.
We use a lot of our White River, another company that we work with all the time. I spent 2 days a week there, every week, for well over a year. And
that was a complicated build.
Yeah, and Baird Brothers' truck could probably drive there by itself once or twice a week. But that house, you're talking about a bowling alley, you're talking about a movie theater, you're talking about a pub, you're talking about 2 master closets one of them bigger than my kitchen. Huge learning experience. From dealing with the homeowner,
home. Yes.
From the homeowners who are great people, to the contractors who we've been dealing with way before I was here.
Yes.
And then all the subs. And like you said earlier, when the product shows up, it affects all the guys working there, because now you're shuffling things around and making it, come together.
You touched on that was a learning experience for yourself, and knowing both of the brothers involved in that construction company.
Yeah.
And they'll be the first to admit that was a learning experience for them.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But in looking at ourselves, we're never too old to stop learning.
No.
And if you have the right communication with that individual, it can be a fun experience.
Oh, it was a blast.
Right?
I was sweating a lot of times just to make sure everything went right.
Right.
Because you're talking about everything a high dollar, ticket item, but
they, and numerous others have trusted us to come on their job site, supply them with fine quality hardwood products,
Yep.
whether it be paint grade, stain grade, something you see on our website, something you see in our catalog, something you see on one of our social media platforms, and come to us. We'll find a way to get it to the end and make your house that home,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Derek, doing a great job. Continued success with our sales staff. I appreciate that we work so well together, and we have a common goal in mind. We're gonna leave this a little stronger than when we found it. A little different complexity, but
Yep.
we're surviving it. We'll be all right.
No
And
doubt.
Really appreciate you taking the time this morning to sit down with us. Folks, follow us on all the socials. American Hardwood Advisor at the content studio.bairdbrothers.com, and we'll talk soon, buddy. Thank you. For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at bairdbrothers.com. Until next time. Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business.
All right, so in today's episode of American Hardwood Advisor, we are flipping the mic around on you, our host, Steve Stack, to learn a little bit more about Studio 3B. We're going to answer questions like, what the heck is a hardwood manufacturer doing with a content studio? We are going to answer, what is a content studio and why is it important? So I'm Mackenzie Cross. I'm from iSynergy, the marketing agency that Baird has been working with for the past several years. And I have known you for what, coming on 3-4 years now, Steve?
Yep, headed that direction.
Yep. And I've been lucky enough to see the studio from start to finish, and I'm excited to be here today. So thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you. I'm excited to be here today. By your intro, it sounds like you're going to ask me the same questions I'm asking myself every day.
Probably.
Right?
So where are we?
We are at Studio 3B, at our facility, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, Canfield, Ohio. And this little building that we had an idea about has turned out to be a little godsend. It's been fun. It's been fun. We're not quite at the end yet.
We're so close.
But it's the studio corner's producing, and we're having fun. We're doing it for the right reasons, and we look forward to breaking out all the stuff that we're going to do here.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be informational. It's going to be educational. We're going to launch new products from here to introduce to the general public and our customer base regionally and across the United States. And we're going to invite some friends in and have conversation with friends, contractors, vendors, and we want to produce a lot of good information, usable information that our viewers will be able to take something away.
Yep.
And with the help of iSynergy, we've got some great releases coming up. We've captured a gazillion photos and videos through the process, and we've already hosted a couple people, and we'll be sharing them soon. We did our great little potting bench project back here already, and that was fun. And we've got some really cool stuff coming up.
And this is the second podcast episode. So our first one was with Hatch.
Yes, we did. Had a great conversation with Paul, Paul Baird, one of the original founders. And he was enlightening. Yeah, it's good to hear Paul share the stories from 61 plus years of a family business at the same location. And Paul and his two brothers, of course, founded the company, and here we are. We went through second generation, them onboarding, and now we're onboarding third generation. And you could see the pride in Paul.
Oh, definitely.
So
it was oozing out of him. It was awesome.
He, his brothers, and their mentality and their work ethic is why they're 61 plus years strong. So our little venture here, and not to minimize it, I think it's a big deal. You think it's a big deal, but it's another one of those ventures that, okay, let's jump into this realm. And third generation is strongly behind this because they know the importance of communicating and the socialization and the Instagram and the Twitter and the Facebook.
Well, that's part of what Hatch touched on, is just the evolution of the business and how you have to be willing to kind of change with the landscape of the environment today, that what you're dealing with. It's a different beast than it was 61
much
years
so.
ago.
And having witnessed it personally over the last how many years, the consumer, end user, homeowner, consumer, or the contractor, they use all the tools.
Yeah.
They use all the tools to research, to compare product to product, to see what's available. And we want to be right up front there, and we want to tout our products, expose everyone to our product lines, availability, so forth, keeping in mind the quality that from day one is still 61 years later a priority, and regionally our service aspect with delivery vehicles, with professional sales guys that can come out and guide you through your new home project, from the selection process to, we have a great engineering department, and you have an idea, you have a particular molding that you want to sketch on a piece of paper or a napkin, give it to the sales guy, scan it, send it into info@bairdbrothers.com, and our engineering will bring it to life, bring it to scale, and we'll make it for you.
Well, see, I think that's one of the interesting things, is that, if you just stumble across Baird Brothers, you see all these hardwood products, you don't realize that there are people behind the scenes that can really help you make sure that the project is going to be what you envision it to be.
That's the beauty of the depth of the company. We were lumber people before we were molding people, and we made that transition. And then we went from moldings and we started manufacturing beautiful architectural grade hardwood stile and rail doors and stair components, from wood balusters and knoll posts and handrails. Now today we have a couple great sources for the iron baluster products, and the ability to have somebody come in and say, man, I really like this for an interior door, but what can we do to put a couple more lines on it? And we kick it around the office, we go to engineering, and bam. You know, we've had the fortune of producing a couple hybrid style doors for our friend that we've met through this old house, Jeff Swinger Builders up in New England. And, you know, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, and we'll say, okay, Jeff will tell myself or tell one of our point sales guys on the project, I really like this, but I need it to be just a little bit different to fit this house. You know, we just finished the Seaside Victorian over in Narragansett, and they worked an mid-1800s home. They added on to it, and they completely mimic the original architectural detail on the exterior of the home, the fretwork, the applied moldings, the sunburst in the shaped shingles. And then they took that same level of craftsmanship and went to the inside of the house. And that's when they came to us and said, okay, we need this, this, and this. It was no big deal. We could do it. We have that capability. And those projects are fun because it's not the everyday, and I say everyday product that we produce. Every day we produce a high-end quality hardwood product.
Right.
Whether it be a 2 1/4 casing or a 3 1/2 inch door and window casing, the same attention goes into each piece.
Right.
But it's fun to have the staff and the resources behind you to be able to do that.
I think it's fun on multiple levels though too, because not only is it fun to create those unique things for these projects, you also see these projects come to life on a national stage. It's a national TV release, it's in a magazine, it's online, it's everywhere. It's pretty incredible.
It is, and it's been fun in the sense we're 3.5 years into a relationship that we never would have dreamt that we'd be experiencing. And 3.5 years, I think 9 projects into it, anywhere from the Midwest to the Atlantic coast, up and down the Atlantic coast. And it's been fun. Everybody that we have been introduced to, affiliated with this old house, or their contractors, architects, interior designers, they all have the same goal in mind. And it's easy to fall in rank with them because everybody's working towards the same goal. So that's been very interesting. And yes, that took us to a national stage, but the roots of the business and the philosophy of having custom moldings, custom flooring available, that still comes from the roots of the Mahoning Valley. And, we're right here in Canfield, Ohio. I mean, this and the people of the valley have helped develop this company into what it is. And whether it's this old house project or idea house, Narragansett, Rhode Island, New Canaan, Connecticut, Afton, Minnesota, out on Jamestown Island, Rhode Island, and up on the Cape, on Cape Horn, overlooking the Long Island Sound. I mean, those are all neat projects. But you know what? There's a guy over in Iowa that he needs 200 feet of a 3.5 inch casing in quarter sawn white oak or in poplar, that the house was from the early 1900s. And he's remodeling, putting a room addition on. We can still cater to that individual. Whether he be in Iowa, whether he be over in Poland, Ohio, or whether they be up in New England. And it's the same philosophy and the same ability of fulfillment that we can accomplish here.
And I think that partnership opportunity that Baird Brothers has had with this old house is kind of what led us into the building that we're in today, right?
It was a huge influence. It's been about 2 years ago. We had a project in Manchester by the Sea, and we had the opportunity to meet one morning with some of the people from this old house. And they said, hey, while you guys are up here, let's take a ride around the corner and take a look at our offices. And we had been to their corporate offices in Stamford, Connecticut, but we had never been out to Concord, Massachusetts. So a couple of their people said, follow us. And we went for a little ride, and what a great surprise. Mm-hmm. We had a nice brief meeting, and they said, come on, something else to show you. And they took us upstairs, and the same studio that a lot of the folks out there might see on TV, where they do some of their, explanations of product introduction, or how to put new washers on a spigot, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, we walked into this studio, and it was like, bam! A light went off and said, "We need one of these."
It's like a kid in a candy shop, huh?
We had conversation on the flight home, and a coworker of mine and myself, and we brought it back to the family, and we introduced it to the family, and in all honesty, with the help of second generation, with third generation, especially with their younger, more technical ideas and forward thinking, and you folks over at Ice Energy, we got the green light on it. Mm-hmm. And thanks to Ice Energy and the team over at Ice Energy, you've been beside us. You've given us guidance. You've anything from our little studio corner size to what should be in it, and the lighting and the audio and just conversation that has brought us to this point. And now we're able to take advantage of, capitalize on it, and I think it's going to live a long life as an asset to our customer base, whether they be homeowner, contractor, maker, woodworker. All of our avenues of consumers are going to benefit from this.
Yeah. And now getting back to the reason why Paul was the first interview, the name of this studio, Studio 3B, back here, has some meaning behind it. Let's talk about that.
And yeah, we can put a couple different spins on it, and it all comes back to the same nucleus. 3B, 3 Bairds, or 3 brothers. And in our segment with Paul, those brothers went through a lot. And this is I think this is a big deal, this Studio 3B. I really do. It's going to be very valuable. But in doing it, we had to keep it rooted to the company.
What's built the business, yeah.
And the business. And the 3 brothers were and still live today in this business. So it's almost like a tribute to those guys, saying, here you go, fellas. Yeah. We're gonna talk about your product even today.
Yeah.
And beyond. So that's cool. And having Paul tell some of his stories in his own words, I had heard some of them a couple times, and I heard a couple in that segment that I hadn't heard
some
before.
Newbies, huh?
Yeah. So that's, and I say it's fun, but just like that segment and other segments that we're producing, we're going to keep them fun and a little bit lighthearted, but we're not turning our heads to the actual subject matter or the seriousness of our products, the quality of our products, how we appreciate the customers, whether it be any of those customer groups that I mentioned earlier, contractor base, homeowner base. They all play a very important role in Baird Brothers' past and in our future.
Yeah, because I mean, we're talking 61 years of history behind the company. This started off with no buildings, right? Maybe one.
There was, when the boys moved up from the farm, just down the road at the adjacent property, there were 2 buildings on the property. And one
not
was
for manufacturing.
no. One was being used by one of the other Baird brothers, and his shop, weld shop, and then the boys, the 3 brothers, Paul, Howard, and Hatch, Richard, Howard, and Hatch. Rather than move the old sawmill, they put a new enterprise sawmill in that one existing building. And then it was, we always say if we're making sawdust, we're having a good day, and they didn't miss a day of making sawdust.
I mean, they started young too. It was,
they were out of high school, into the service, out of the service, and as Paul mentions, one would go away to the service, he'd come home, the other went to the service, so they worked with the 2 brothers, and then Sis chipped in a little bit, and before they knew it, their business was starting to evolve, just from cutting blocking material for the steel mills and for the pallet industry, and et cetera and so forth. Now, okay, well, let's look at drying some lumber, some grade lumber, and this and that, and then we're making moldings, and then we're making interior doors, and it's been every year growing the business, the product line, and here we are 61 years later, and we're still doing things that 40, 45 years ago was really the big growth of the company as far as hardwood interior products.
Right.
And that is still the core, the heartbeat of this business. And we just tweak it a little bit, new products, but the quality has to stay there.
Yeah. How many buildings are on the campus now?
That's not a fair question. I think they add one every year and a half, 2 years.
For something to do, we're going to add a building.
It's quite the complex, and you've had the opportunity to walk around it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buildings.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of buildings. There's a lot of great employees here.
A lot of equipment, a lot of
stacked we have
product everywhere.
We have equipment in the mill shop that I don't even want to misspeak and say how far it dates back.
It's not new, is what you're saying.
It's not new. It's been here a long, long time, and it still does the job, the operation it was designed to do 50 years ago, 60 years ago. But we also have some of the most cutting edge, technologically advanced equipment on this property that allows us to be more efficient, to increase production. And that said, all of them, the old equipment, the new equipment, still is overseen by the same thing, human eyes and human hands. And so it's interesting. I've witnessed a lot. We have equipment that I don't pretend to understand. I don't need to. I see the board go in, I see the board come out, and what that machine does in between both ends of the boards is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. There's things taken from the steel industry equipment. There's things taken from the medical industry.
I think that's the coolest thing. I mean, one of the showstoppers for me, among many of the things that you have here on site, is the wood MRI machine. It's unbelievable to me that that technology exists.
The big blue donut.
Yeah.
It's part of our rough rip optimizing line, and that it measures in a couple different ways, but the long and short of it, it's an MRI for wood. Mm-hmm. It measures density, voids, things along that. It identifies it. It communicates to a saw down the line, and when that board gets down there, it's been identified, it's been indexed, located, and that saw down the line will cut the defect out.
Yeah.
And continue on through the optimizing process.
Yeah. Incredible.
It really is, and then our CNC router capabilities, and that's opened up a whole different approach to manufacturing some of our door components, and whether it be the stile and rail assemblies, or whether it be some of the more cathedral top or French provincial top panels and so forth. Years ago that was all done on an open head shaper, and now it's done on this CNC router, and production goes up, safety goes up. It's a win-win.
Yeah, just evolves. Everything evolves.
Yeah,
sort of
very
like,
much so.
I mean, this building has evolved. What was this building before it was a studio?
This was it was a storage shed.
It was a storage shed.
A lot of years it was used by Richard Baird Dick to Richard was an entrepreneur first and foremost, but his hobbies included gardening, growing the giant pumpkins and squash, and a beekeeper. So it has some of his a beekeeper, yeah. and he went the whole way. I mean, from utilizing the bees for their purpose with his gardens, but then producing honey. And so then some of that stuff was stored, and then when that kind of subsided, it was overrun by raccoons, and it quickly became known as the coon shed.
Oh, God.
And just a catch-all building. And when we started this, I went to the family and said, well, yeah, if we're going to concrete it all. It had a slag floor in it.
Uh-huh.
And so we concreted it all and said, well, how much are we getting? And well, you can have half of it. So here we are in our corner of half of the building, and it's starting to come together.
Starting to come together. I would say it's a big transformation. I think when this is revealed, it hasn't officially been revealed yet, but I mean, it's pretty incredible back here.
I hope people like it in the sense of it's a very comfortable little studio set kind of thing. But more importantly, I hope they like it because of the content that we're going to present to them. Mm-hmm. And it gives us a nice environment to present product, ideas, information, and we're going to introduce you to a lot of people.
Yep.
And have some great conversation.
Yep. Yeah. Not mentioning age or anything, but you've been here a while, so you remember the coon shed and probably some different buildings on the property getting built. How long have you been here now? Do you?
I like how you phrased it. A while.
A while. You've been here a while. A few decades, maybe.
Okay, now you're starting to hone in a little too close.
Now, your dad worked here too, though, right?
Dad worked here. I had uncles that worked here, and our family wasn't exclusive to that. We have I'm thinking about the Cronins. They had multifamily members here. The Lantermans had multifamily members here, and there's more, and I'm overlooking them. But no, it was how do I want to say it? You know, it's easy to come to work when you don't mind your work.
Yeah.
And like I've had the opportunity to be outside. I've worked a sales counter. I've worked outside sales for almost 25 years in Northeast Ohio, and now I spend a lot of time with our This Old House relationship and some woodworking travel shows, and now through the course of the pandemic, and that's what you got to love about this company. Nobody laid down, nobody quit working. And we said, when we introduced the studio idea, it got pushed to the back burner the first time. And then when all the craziness started, Paul said, hey, Hood, go ahead and get that project started back there. They don't sit still. And when I said earlier, and I'm not joking, every couple of years there's a new building going up.
Yeah.
Every year there is capital investment back into the company in the form of equipment, technology, across the board. And that is why they've survived 61 plus years.
Yeah.
You know, so that makes it makes it interesting. But this little studio workshop project, we said going in, you and I've had conversation. It's going to be fun. And we are going to present it to our guests, to our projects, and those people. We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it fun. And we like to think we're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, we've already completed and released our little potting bench build. That was fun. It wasn't made for television.
No.
It was myself and our friend Christy from Oak Hill Millworks showing folks, hey, this is a nice weekend project. And the beauty of it, you use it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we've got some other projects coming up. You and I've discussed upcoming projects, you know, like lockers for inside your hallway entrance to your home, from the garage to the house, or a side entryway, and you
tutorials of how to install some of the
and yes, and we've captured and documented, and a lot of it isn't just to the homeowner DIY. We're going to throw some hints and clues out that maybe some of the builders don't use.
Yeah.
We're going to do a piece on our hardwood flooring, and we have photography to support it, but we're going to do stuff where, you know, checking it with a moisture meter and making sure the conditions are right, and the underlayment paper that was used, and the installation technique and the nailing pattern and things like that. Or something as simple as we use a lot of Franklin adhesive products, and more recognizable to the consumer, Titebond glue. They have a whole family of adhesives. And like our potting bench project, we used a Franklin exterior waterproof glue product.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be giving folks that information, and we're going to include some of the products that we use in our shop and that we sell in our retail store, like the Craig family of woodworking tools, from their joinery products to their workbench stands and everything and anything that Craig offers. And so it's going to be informational. It's going to be educational. And there's going to be folks say, oh, I didn't know they
that.
made that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, for that purpose. And so, like I say, we're going to have fun.
Did you ever think that you would see this happen here? When you started out and 10 years in, you saw how the company was evolving. Did you ever think
Okay,
that you'd be sitting in a studio?
let me do the math. 10 years in, I would have been, okay. No, the only thing I thought about 10 years in was ski trips and what I was
Very
doing
true.
the next night. But in all seriousness, I've witnessed that growth in reinvestment my entire time here.
Yeah.
To answer your question, up until 2.5 years ago, no.
Yeah.
No. It was a trip to Concord, Massachusetts, and being able to come back and have conversation to open ears, and with the help of third generation saying, this might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then we start talking to you folks over at Ice Energy and say, oh, Stack, we got to do that. And here we are.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's incredible to see. It really is. It's the transformation itself. And it happened quickly too. It's not like this has been in the works for the last 3 years. This is something that's really transpired over the past maybe 8 months. Is it?
Yeah,
8 months?
actually,
From the time you took out the gravel flooring and
I was looking back earlier today as we're sharing photos back and forth, and I went all the way back to some of the first photos I had taken, and it was mid-November when we got the green light and started putting this together and bouncing ideas off of each other, and the electrical stages, and then, oh, hey, while you guys are doing wiring, you might want to think about this if you want to put some lighting over in this corner and have it independent from the regular daylight lighting. And oh, then let's talk about HVAC, and let's talk about dehumidification, and
otherwise we'd be sweating profusely back here in the 90 degree temps.
Yeah, that and the sound, the extra steps we went through for insulation, and after all, we're in a tin pole barn, that's 150 years old. Just kidding. But it took everybody's input. I had conversations with Paul. Do we want to do this? Don't we want to do this? And he gave his input, and then we talked to our general, our contractor on it, Johnny Ulickney Builders, and John brought his ideas to us, and then you guys and the team up in Canfield at Ice Energy there, hey, it'd be cool if we could do this, and then through the design stage and bouncing ideas off everybody and building mock-ups and holding them up on the ceiling or on the wall and saying,
literally drawing ceiling treatments.
Yeah. I mean, that's
you and your sketches.
That myself included, and homeowners over the years, we've been able to do that. You can explain, and you can. It's 3 stages. It's a verbal explanation. It is not even a line drawing, a primitive sketch drawing, and that helps bring it to life. And then if you can show a physical mock-up of the actual moldings, now it's real. Now it has depth, size, perspective, and so this little room that we've created, it's going to be a great sales tool for our on-site salespeople, and also through videos that some we've captured, some we're going to make, a coffered beam ceiling.
Right.
They can be very complex, or they can be somewhat simplistic and still carry a lot of bang.
Yeah.
And so this area is going to allow us to share that information.
And you guys have a lot of stuff in your showroom for people to walk in and see, but this is kind of next level. I mean, this is putting it into a space that could resemble your family room right here in the corner. I mean, it's comfortable.
Okay. I was going to use another word beside comfortable, but it's almost, it's got that at-home cozy feel to it.
Yes, definitely.
And you know, you can walk in and what do we have? 6 different ceilings, 5 or 6 different ceilings. I don't even remember, but ceiling treatments. You can walk in and you can envision that in your den, your study, your library, your dining room, you know, formal dining room. You want, we featured some shiplap ceilings, and so we've mixed paint, we've mixed natural stain. We have red oak, we have cherry, we have maple. Our wall covering, live sun, white oak, nickel gap siding. We went with an antique style floor, you know, showing the saw curves and the natural colorations of the floor. And we went to the old standby, the red oak cabinetry. We did introduce a killer character grade hickory top there.
The walnut
and,
top.
Oh yeah, and our little side buffet flanker cabinet unit, that beautiful black walnut top. So there's a lot of information here.
Yeah. Intentional information too. I think that's
very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. We're gonna show you some old school ideas, how to install a countertop.
Right.
We're gonna show you, bring your measurements in of your kitchen cupboards. We'll make you new doors. You may have to refinish the faces, or they might be in good shape and you just want to update doors. We'll show you, we'll walk you through that process, and then we'll show you how, with the new European style hinge, the doors come prepped, and put them right on your openings.
Yeah.
Right down to some little, excuse me, some trade secret tips. How to make a little jig fixture to locate your door hardware so they're consistent and uniform throughout your kitchen. Just little stuff like that we're going to share.
Yeah.
We're going to share.
Because it doesn't have to be scary. I mean, it doesn't have to, you don't have to be a contractor with 40 years of experience to use the products. That's one of the great things. You guys have such a big audience. It's homeowners. It's young kids getting into the business. It's someone that wants to update an area of their home and, you know, cover up a painted wall with some shiplap.
And it's important to note that through new construction, throughout the decades, it's a roller coaster. It's ups and downs. It's ups and downs. We love our contractor base. We also love our homeowner base, because when new construction's down, remodeling picks up. And a lot of those remodelers are DIYers. You know, Joe and Sally Smith, homeowners, we're going to put hardwood flooring in our dining room. We're going to do chair rail and wainscot in our dining room. We're going to finish the basement. So to your statement of, we have a mix, we have a fantastic blend of customer base, and it takes all of them. It takes all of them to allow us to do what we do. And so every segment of our consumer population is very, very important. And so there's going to be a lot of information come out of here that everybody's going to find valuable. And we've got some really interesting stuff coming up. Just like our desk. There's a cool story behind it. It is a late 1800s woodworker's workbench. Comes out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, a company up in Grand Rapids that manufactured them back in the day. And that has introduced us to a lot of really interesting people.
Hopefully that we'll have on here, right?
I'm hoping. We have a new friend from from the Kent, Ohio area that we've had conversation with, and we have some. We're going to keep some of this stuff in the bag. You're going to have to stay tuned and follow us, and pay attention to our podcasts and our social releases. We're going to introduce equipment that the last few generations know nothing about.
Yes.
And there are still woodworkers that use them every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to that.
Yeah.
You've had the privilege of meeting this gentleman.
Amazing.
And he kept us in awe for over 2.5 hours. Yeah. And he's going to take us on a real neat journey.
Yeah. He's like a walking history book. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah.
So like I say, there's going to be a lot of good, fun stuff come out of this little building.
So you've had a lot of great experiences in your tenure here at Baird Brothers. Do you consider this studio to be one of your biggest accomplishments with the company? Or what do you see as your biggest accomplishment, I guess, is a better question.
That's a tough question, because I've had a lot of great experiences. I would have to say, and I don't know if you view it as an accomplishment, but I have met hundreds into thousands of people. How do I say, how do you replace that?
Yeah.
But as far as saying, okay, we've developed regional sales areas, we've had sales growth, but 3 years ago, when we had the production crew and Kevin O'Connor from this old house out here, I would have never dreamt.
Yeah. That was a great day.
That was fun. That is fun. And it continues to be fun. But this little gem tucked away back here in the corner of the property, seeing the opportunity, both, and I don't want to say it in a selfish way, seeing the opportunity for Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods and the second and third generation, but seeing the opportunity that we have to show usable, good information to our customers. Whenever you can serve your customer better and front load educate, that's a plus. That's getting a relationship off to the best foot you possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's what this little room is going to allow us to do. And so this is going to be both regional and national. This old house, regional somewhat, national more so. They're probably right here. And I don't know if there's anything that could tip the scale one way or the other. They've both been a fantastic experience. I don't look at it as an accomplishment because it's been enjoyable.
It is an accomplishment, though. I mean, it's a pretty cool thing for a fine hardwood manufacturer to have a content studio on site. Where
and that's what I'm finding out.
Yeah.
I'm talking to people and they're saying, "You're doing what? Nobody does that in the lumber." No. Well, we are.
Yeah.
But I like to think it's done with purpose.
It is. Yeah.
And we set out on this thanks to your team, McKenn's, up the hill in Canfield there, and I think we have a great opportunity to serve our viewers, our customers in a very positive way.
Yeah. And I think one of my favorite things about you is that you're always looking toward the future and trying to plan what's around the corner. And I think maybe that's a good part of the multi-generational business of Baird. And you've touched on it a little bit, how, you know, the second generation kind of pushed the envelope with the first generation. Now you have the third generation coming on, and they're the ones that really have the handle on, you know, the digital side of things and how the landscape changes. And how do you see the new generations pushing the business forward? Without losing focus on what built it.
Exactly. And I was going to say that prior to seeing them, how they're going to take it. Mm-hmm. I'm witnessing it now. I'm pretty much witnessing my second change of the guard. Mm-hmm. And this third generation, I see work ethic in them. I see great ideas in them, but they are so far more technologically advanced in being able to use our computers in the middle of redesigning a website and an e-commerce side, that's probably going to be their strong suit. But with the IT background in a company our size, we have rough lumber, we have what we call our rip barn, our optimizing line, we have production in our mill shop, we have production in our door shop. They have the capabilities to network all those together. So it improves communication. When we improve communication, we improve customer service. Mm-hmm. And we can set honest target dates. We can fulfill manufacturing in those target dates. So they're real dates. Yeah. You know, the old adage around here, well, yeah, we'll have it in about 2 weeks. Yeah. You know, that customers demand tighter answers. Yeah. And I see them pulling those reins in and tying sales to manufacturing and the lines of communication and reporting. You know, if I can go up to my desk and I can pull up an order number and it'll tell me exactly where in the shop it's at, and the pieces for the doors are here, and the lumber is ripped and waiting to go on this molder, and et cetera, and tie pre-finishing into it. It's going to be added value for our customer. Yeah,
definitely. So, well, I think that kind of wraps us up here. I appreciate you allowing me to turn the table on you and interview you for a second here, because you're going to be the voice that everybody's going to get used to in most cases, I think, on this podcast. But
this was relaxing. I like this side of the mic.
Oh, do you? Well, don't get used to it, but no, I appreciate it. This Studio 3B is awesome. I think it's going to deliver some really great content. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with what they see come out of here, not just products.
I hope so. I hope so. We have a pretty good template to work towards, and our friends over at TOH, I mean, they've set the bar. Yeah. We're still the small little lumber yard in Canfield, Ohio, but we've got big aspirations. Yeah. Thank you for being here today.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Yep.
For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor Series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at BairdBrothers.com. Until next time. Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hey guys, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Another edition of American Hardwood Advisor. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada at booth 966. We are at the start of our show season. And why am I telling you that? It benefits both Baird Brothers and you folks at home. A lot of reasons. I am joined by my co-worker, Eric Hiner, inside sales representative with Baird's for in excess of 25 years. And we're out here in Las Vegas starting our season off. We're going to be doing a lot of traveling, Eric.
Definitely.
Right?
Shows are going to start. We're ready.
You know, talking about the importance of shows, we both know and share why they're important to Baird Brothers. It's our chance to take Baird Brothers across the United States for all intent and purposes, right? It's cool in the sense that we get to discover new relationships and customers, but also in the case of last year at the Orlando IBS show, you had a fun opportunity to meet somebody that you'd been doing business with for what, 9-10 years?
Yeah.
Take us through that.
Perfect opportunity. So you had originally met him at a Vegas show years ago.
Yep.
Client from Hawaii, and just amazing person to work with. It was so nice. I had to have the biggest smile on my face when they walked up to the booth and introduced themselves, and I met them in person. It was amazing.
You did.
The handshake was unreal.
Right. You know, and that's the opportunities that we have on when we're in the booth. I mean, you and I have often joked about we get to attend all these home shows all over, both regionally and, you know, Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Youngstown and Erie, up on the East Coast. But we're stuck to this booth. We joke, one of these years, we're going to get on a plane and we're going to fly to a home show just so we can walk around like the consumer.
Right, I want to see it all too.
Right. You know, I know the gals back home, you know, Andrea and Lise, they say, when are we going to get to go to one of these shows for us? And then it flip-flops. And then you put that consumer mentality out there, whether you're a contractor, an architect, an interior designer, or Joe homeowner, you know, it is so beneficial to come to these shows. This is the exception. This is a national, international show, but our regional shows, this stuff you see.
Yeah, not just because we're at the International Builders Show this year is it so big and so elevated. I mean, it is larger in size, but when we go back to our regional shows in Cleveland and Pittsburgh, so as important. The same quality of people are there buying from Baird Brothers.
You know, whether you're looking for Baird Brothers products, you know, with our doors, our moldings, our countertops, our hardwood flooring, or whether you're looking for tile, you're going to find it at these shows.
You can find everything you're looking for here.
Most importantly, I was a consumer a couple years ago. I needed a grill. What'd I come home with?
A brand new grill for the porch. added to it right from the home show.
Not this show, but a lot of the regional shows, they incorporate the great big home and garden show, Cleveland, Ohio, coming up, well, actually starting real soon, like
end of the week.
Yeah, February 3rd through the 12th. And then they incorporate the gardens, the landscape designers, outdoor living.
Yeah.
You know, outdoor living's big right now. You know, swing sets for the kiddos.
Yeah.
If you have the chance and you've got that remodeling idea in your head, or whether you're going to bounce outside in the spring and rearrange some of the flower beds or put a deck on or whatever it is. You attend these home and garden shows, and it is Encyclopedia Britannica at your doorstep, real time. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can talk to the experts, and it comes full circle. And in a period of 3 hours, you're going to walk out and your head's going to be spinning with ideas, but a lot of good information. We've had a great few days here at Las Vegas.
Awesome.
We've spoke to people from all across the country, and it's a great way, just like when somebody comes into our booth here at Baird Brothers, they're talking here in Las Vegas, they're talking to Eric, they're talking to Zach, they're talking to Benny, and they're not only getting a chance to get a read of the personality of the company, but they can touch our doors, our flooring, our moldings, and it just goes on and on. So I don't know. What do you think? Are we ready to go home yet?
We'll give it one more day. We'll give it to the end, close of the show for sure.
That's about all I got left in me, man.
Right.
We got to go home, rest up for a day, and start another one.
So, rest your throat a little bit from talking. A lot of good talking. Definitely.
Oh, a lot of great conversation. It's been
people here are amazing.
Yeah, we've experienced it in Orlando with the IBS 2022 and now 2023 in Las Vegas, and we're just getting warmed up.
We're ready.
You ready?
I'm ready to do it.
Okay, all right. Get out, visit a home and garden show, and bring those ideas to life. Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Until next time, take care. For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor Series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at BairdBrothers.com. Until next time. All right, folks. Hey, we find ourselves again in our main millroom shop. I'm joined by Brandon Druhard. He's one of our lead molder setup technicians, and he's another step in that process of manufacturing. After our lumber comes through our ripping operation out back, comes in here, and this guy's responsible for putting pretty profiles on it. Brandon, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, I'm looking at something here. It's a little bit different. What do we got going on here?
We're actually making a custom back band for a casing. As you can see here, I'm going to go on the edge of a profile to make kind of one of our special profiles we do. One of the simple things we do here in the finish shop every day.
Okay, so somebody came to us with a request for this custom back band. That's 1.5 inch by 2 inch, in this case poplar, and that'll be used in conjunction with that casing to make. That's going to be a pretty bold casing treatment.
Absolutely.
So, Brandon, take me through the steps. I mean, this, in my mind, you put a piece of square stock in on one end, and this comes out the other end. What is the process for you to set this machine behind us up?
So pretty much, it's a pretty straightforward process, Steve. You'll start at one side of the machine, where you're going to pretty much, kind of like planing, we're going to clean up the bottom, edge the sides down to the sides, and then the top and bottom edge usually where you put your profiles on, Real simple, you were in the grinding room, you've seen, simple. Put a profile on, you want to round over, we can do it,
So the process, whether we're dealing with a profiled molding or whether we're dealing with 1x6, 1x8, 1x10 dimensional stock, it's the same thing. You're looking for the same quality finish on the moldings as the dimensional product.
Absolutely.
The whole way through. So, and I'm sure I heard you correct, one pass through this machine and all 4 faces of the lumber are addressed, right?
Yep.
So we put a square piece in and we get molding out the back side of it.
Pretty straightforward, simple as can be.
All right, Brent. Hey, thanks. Have a great day.
You too, Steve.
Hey everybody, we find ourselves back here in another one of our milling operations. I'm joined by Bill Moss. Billy, tell the folks, how long have you been with Baird Brothers?
I've been with Baird Brothers for 34 years.
So there you go, guys. There's another one of our employee longevity stories that we have out here. And it shows in our product. You want to know how to mill flooring? Billy's going to show us. Bill, why don't you show us what we're running today? Go ahead and grab
This is black walnut we're running. This is 3-inch black walnut feed groove flooring, end match.
Okay, so this is just one of the examples of the variety of hardwood products. We have the red oak, the white oak, the quarter sawn oak, the black walnut, the cherry, the maple. What am I forgetting?
We got a variety of about anything you can think of. Anything you want, we can run it for you.
So not only in species, but what kind of widths do we offer?
We offer widths from 2 1/4 clear up to 7, 8, 9 inches if you want it. I mean, it's a variety of width, whatever width you want.
Okay, so we not only offer the solid 3/4 inch hardwood flooring we're all used to, but we're also manufacturing an engineered product now. Tell us a little bit about the engineered process.
Yeah, the engineered product is a veneer on a plywood, and it's 5/8 thick, and there's a variety of species in that too. It's end mat.
That's going on what, a Baltic birch backer? As far as the plywood?
It's Baltic foot, yes. And they usually put it on concrete. That's what engineered flooring for the moisture content.
What's the wear layer, the actual hardwood surface wear layer thickness?
The wear layer is about 200,000. It's just under 1/4 inch.
So you've got a pretty substantial wear layer on that engineered product that's going to last very similar to our salt product.
Oh, yes, it will. It would last a long time. Yes, it will.
All right, Billy. Hey, thank you. I'll let you get back to work. Have a good day. Okay, folks. Hey, we find ourselves out here at Baird Brothers in our grinding room. This is where all of the tolling is maintained, created, and this is an important link in our chain of manufacturing, a high quality hardwood product. You know, our moldings, they stand on their own, the quality of the molding, and that has a lot to do with this room. I'm joined today with Roger. Roger pretty much oversees the grinding room. Raj, what do you guys do back here all day?
Well, more or less we get a list of what's running out in the shop, and we'll have to pull the profiles, templates, and set them up inside of a head so that our molders can run them out there.
Okay, and you made that sound pretty simple.
Well, it's pretty routine. It's over and over, but you got to set them up, and then we have to grind them because they have to match. Both knives in the head have to match the same, so we get a good quality result. We'll have to grind them on the grinders here to give them a smooth cut so that our finished product has no lines or knife marks. In order to keep the good knife marks, we have to have a balance head, so everything's got to be tight tolerance.
Okay, so there's a science to it.
Yes, it's a process. it's a science.
Okay, so you just hit on it. You guys are doing your thing here, so when it goes out to the molder hut, put on the molder, then we're going to produce that, whether it be the moldings in our different species. I've lost track how many profiles we have. I mean, it's into thousands.
I have no idea. Yes,
right?
It's more and more every week.
And that's the beauty. Somebody comes in with a specific design, right, we can create it.
Absolutely.
What's that process?
Well, our drawing upstairs, we'll draw it, and then, like now we've got the CNC, so we get a drawing, we cut the knife steel to size, and then we make it. We have to follow along the profile, make it, set it up in a head, and set it out, end product.
There you go, folks. that's the diversity that we have here. You dream it up, and if it's out of hardwood lumber, bring it into Baird Brothers and we'll manufacture it for you. Roger, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Steve Stack out here at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, Canfield, Ohio. It's September in Northeast Ohio, and we know what that is. It's time for our annual Red, White, and True event. Every September, normally the last weekend or the weekend prior to, and this year it's the September 24th, 25th, and 26th. And we're out here today. We're going to do our virtual tour again this year. We're going to add some new stuff into it. We're going to go back into the door department. We're going to talk to the guys in the door department, the molding department, maybe see some countertops being assembled, put together. But we're going to try and get you as up close and personal to some of our guys and let you see what we do out here at Baird Brothers. You know, it's our would have been our 10th year with our Red, White, and True. Unfortunately, it will not be an on-site event, and but you know what? We're making the best of it, and we're still going to have some nice offerings for you folks. So let's take a little walk, get back into the shop, and see what produces all this sawdust, okay? Let's go see if we can find some doors being put together. Okay, folks, we find ourselves right outside our finish shop, our finish mill shop. We're gonna step inside, and we're gonna try and catch up to a couple of the guys, you know, some of those craftsmen that we have out here at Baird Brothers. We have a lot of automation as far as our equipment goes, but there's still a lot of hands-on, human hands, human eyes, and putting our quality products together. So let's take a peek inside and see who we can run into. JR.
Yes, sir.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but guess what? I'm going around today, and we're putting a piece together, you know, like we do every year for Red, White, and True.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's going to be off-site, the virtual thing, but I saw you putting together this beautiful cherry door, right? One of hundreds of custom door options that we have.
Right.
The different species, the different sticking, the panel configurations. Take us through the process. I mean, I know you've got support guys that are building the pieces and parts.
Right.
Then you're the hands and eyes putting them together and making sure everything is just right. Take us through. Tell us what the guys are doing.
Well, Sam down here, for instance, once the material gets sized, he's putting the coped ends and the profile on them. We'll back up to even before that.
You know what? You hit a key phrase there. Pick that piece up, and you mentioned the coped end.
This is the coped end, which fits the profile on the rail, or on the style rather.
All right, and there's a lot of strength generated there.
Oh, yeah, you have a lot of glue surface, not just the pins that go in it, but you have a lot of surface there.
Yeah, very good, very good. So once the door components come to you, you go through the assembly process that you're doing right now.
Bore the holes, put all the spacers in, and hopefully I can jump into spreading some glue.
You know, so we do, and I'm standing here looking around, we do our, you know, the renowned 6-panel door, you know, the old Cross and Bible door.
Right.
And we do those, and we like building those. But I'm seeing a custom louver door unit that you're working on. Out of red oak?
Red oak.
And then the cherry door that you're working on behind me. So it's a matter of people coming to us with their wish list.
Whatever you like.
Right?
That's
Right? Glass options, all kind of different glass options.
Right.
We do the passage doors, the pocket doors, the sliding barn doors are popular.
6 feet, 7 foot, 8 foot, 1 3/8, 1 3/4, 2 1/4.
Hey, you know what? And it all comes down to the eyes, the hands, putting them together. It'll leave you, it'll go through a sizing operation, then through a sander.
Right.
If it goes to a pre-hung unit, it'll go over to our pre-hung shop and ready to go to the job site. Make somebody a beautiful product, huh?
That's what we're after.
All right, thank you, JR.
Have a great day.